Hello, fellow readers. Welcome to the channel where the star is the book. And if you are a regular, thank you very much for taking the time to watch my videos. It really means a lot to me. If otherwise you were brought here by the algorithm, please stick around. This chance encounter might prove to be fruitful for the both of us. What is the number one sentence every inmate tells in a TV show? I'm innocent. I was framed. I didn't do it. That's certainly not the case with the narrator of this book, The Tunnel, by the Argentinian author Ernesto Sabato. The novel is about doomed love, but mostly about doomed self. This doomed self of a narrator is one painter named Juan Pablo Castel. Juan Pablo is an extremely intelligent and extremely logical and self-analytical individual, but his soul is somewhat tainted by the fact that he is too pessimist and a hardcore misanthrope. Listen to this quote on page 6 as it sets the psychological stage. That the world is awful is a truth dispensing with proof. Or in another love declaration to mankind here on page 47. Humanity always seemed to be despisable. In fact, his truth seems to exclude almost everybody else's. Here on page 14, there's this ominous sentence which will echo some way or another throughout the rest of the novel. Experience has shown to me that what seems clear and evident is almost never so for the rest of my peers. Indeed. So, while displaying his paintings at an exhibit, he notices an attractive lady looking at one of his paintings. In specific, a tiny detail he painted in the backdrop of this specific canvas. There's a small window he painted there. He can't even explain to himself why he painted this small window. It's not even the main focus of the painting, and everybody else seems to ignore it. But it's probably just a symbol for his own loneliness. But the fact that this lady takes immense time to look at this small window and ponder the meaning of this small window makes him believe that somehow they are interconnected at a mystical level, that they are soulmates. And then his self-induced torment begins as he obsesses over a period of months on how he can be reunited with this attractive lady again. By chance, he encounters her on the streets of Buenos Aires, and a sort of relationship then starts between the two of them. The woman's name is Maria Iribarne. For y'all naive optimists out there that believe at court that this is a fluffy love story, and that Maria will change the outlook on life of Juan Pablo Castel, it's neither. His thought process will filter everything about their relationship. It will guide their relationship, other than being guided by the structural principle of love, self-effacing altruism. There's none of that in this relationship. We travel this solipsistic mind, extremely jealous and suspicious, akin to the narrator of Notes from the Underground by Dostoevsky. There's this warped logic at work in here, and it justifies everything from harassment, persecution, and even several episodes of downright sadism as Juan Pablo tries to force Maria into loving him, or at least admitting that she loves him back. The obsession of Juan Pablo is symbolized by the fact that we can't even find much about Maria's psychology, intentions, or features, because she is only described through Castel's incessant and neurotic reasonings. As readers, we first start by pitying the fool, and then downright despising the fool, because he can't even seem to make up his mind on whether or not Maria loves him, and, most important, on whether or not Maria is cheating on him. There's a ton of interesting topics in here to sift through. First off, published in 1948, where mankind was still reeling from the shock of seeing its ugliest face reflected on the mirror of war, I would argue it's a book on how an existential malaise, a worst of times syndrome, can contaminate your life to the bone, can contaminate your life to the core. Juan Pablo can never really transcend his existential jail. He's too stuck in his geography of time and place to be able to use this gateway, this momentary gateway between souls. It's only my personal opinion, but in a sense I believe that we are similarly sick. This disposable sign of our times has convinced us that love is also disposable, the only lottery we will probably ever win. And we still squander it. We still self-sabotage it. We believe that love, there's endless and boundless opportunities at love in life. There's not. There's probably just one or two main relationships you will ever have in your life. So it's time to bring your better self to the game, not the same self. More on that. I strongly advise you to check out Serotonin by Wellebeck. Back to my reasonings. Love is this fleeting communicating door between two doomed existences, the only possible graft for a new alternative fate. But we just mostly ground and pound on it with the full weight of our acquired vices. I also believe there's a supernatural element in this novel. There's a recurrence of the spirit of Maria Magdalene. If you remember, Maria Magdalene helped to ease the burden of Christ. Here we watch this self-crucified Christ, this martyr of his own making, who keeps killing and resurrecting his love with the nails of an intellectual faith. He's able to convince himself through cold, detached, and sound logic that wrong is right, that murky is crystal clear, that suspicion is fact. Finally, a word about the title. I would argue that in bad times you get this tunnel vision, and this tunnel vision really cuts through every one of your life's horizons. And love, the main get out of jail card, is probably just neglected or discarded. Castell kills Maria in a jealousy-induced trance. That's the initial confession of the book. Sorry, I probably should have started by my review by saying that. It's in the first sentence. This is the confession of a killer. But then again, I could not leave this review with no cliffhanger. Sorry for that. The jury is even still out on whether or not Maria was indeed cheating on Juan Pablo, as he believes was the case. I've seen both interpretations upheld in different essays. So I strongly advise you to read and be the final judge on the matter. When you reach a verdict, please let me know in the comment section below. That's a wrap. Hope you kind folks enjoy. Hope to see you again for a next review. Ta-da!